Hello everybody, welcome to IA Command, your number one source for Imperial Assault gameplay and news in 2022. We've got another League game log analysis here for you guys. And this time you guys are in for a rare treat because I am going to be the one playing in this game. So I actually played this game a few days ago, but I saved the log and now I'm going to go through the game. I thought it was a pretty interesting game. And Dylan said he was cool with me posting it. So thank you, Dylan, for letting me go over this game log. And it'll be really interesting to be able to actually know exactly what's going on in this game and be able to tell you guys what I was thinking while I was playing. So let's jump into it here. We are playing on Uskru Entertainment District Priority Message. So that's the one where the droids pop out at the end of each round and move 6 spaces. And important to remember that these droids are not figures, and that's actually going to come up in this game a couple of times. So interesting to note. And so let's see, we've also got the list here. Oh, sorry about that. So I am playing, I'm going to have to admit it, I'm playing a bit of a try-hard list here. This is it's got HK-47, he's not considered super high tier, but yeah. This is I don't often get to play Vassal and League games, so when I play in the League, I'm a committee member. I've got a bit of a reputation I've got to uphold, right? So, figured I'd try to get a win if I can and play a strong list. But actually, this list is still pretty new, so it's not this is not like a list I copied off of somebody else. I did get some help from the community over on Zion's Finest with helping make this list a lot better. So thank you very much to Derek and everybody else who made suggestions. They helped a lot, and you guys will get to see those here. So I'm playing HK-47 with Headhunter, and I'll drag his card over here. So here's HK-47. I'm also playing Jabba the Hutt, Vinto, regular Jawa, Scavenger, Onar Coma, and Black Market. Those are my FFG cards. And then I've got for IACP, I have the new hired guns, Bib Fortuna, and Dr. Afra. So here is the Headhunter card. So really nice combo here with HK-47's Mockery ability, where because he can deal a strain to any figure in his line of sight, it's very easy to trigger Headhunter. Normally you used to see Headhunter played on something like Chopper, but Chopper was dealing strain to figures next to terminals, so the opponent had control over. Basically what you're doing was spending 1 point to deny your opponent's terminal, but you also had to keep Chopper ready in order to enforce it. With this, you can pretty much just discard a card at random from the opponent's hand every turn, so it's quite strong, as long as you're able to get HK-47 to line of sight on something. You'll see, it actually isn't, I don't get to use it that much in this game because of Uskru, the way Uskru works, but so that's my list. Now we're going to go on to Dylan's list. And Dylan told me after the match he thought this list was actually pretty strong, based on, although he hadn't gotten to test it very much. So he is playing Boba Fett. So here's Boba Fett and ICP. This is from season 3, I think, and it took us 2 seasons, or took the committee 2 seasons to get it right. This was before I joined. He's also got the Mandalorian, Shyla, who's recosted but otherwise the same in IACP, and then Sabine, which is not showing up for some reason. Oh, he's loading his list, that's why. There we go. So he's got Sabine. So he's got a Mandalorian tribal list. He's also got Clan of 2 to go with Boba Fett, and then he has 3PO, Temporary Alliance for Sabine and 3PO, and then Under Duress. Now Under Duress is interesting. It did get fixed in IACP, and I think season 5. And it makes sense with Boba Fett and the Mandalorian. They both have flamethrower abilities that deal strain. However, I think we talked about it afterwards, and I think we agreed that extra armor would probably be better in this list to go with the innate block or innate defense boosts of Shyla and Boba Fett. So that might get switched out later. But anyway, moving on, let's get into the gameplay here. So I ended up with initiative. It's been a long time, and like I said, I don't get to practice very much, so I'm very rusty. Most of the time, I'm always getting the rust off of me. I remember from back in the day that Uskru, people used to talk about how good the column was that deployment zone, so I decided to go with that one. In hindsight, though, I think I've changed my opinion, and I think the blue deployment zone is actually the better one. You just have so much cover from those long walls up against the middle space, and you can also get really good line of sight shots from your terminal. So you can bunch all your figures up by your terminal and shoot across the fountain on the right side here. Let's see, does the clicking work? There we go. Yeah, so this fountain, so if you bunch up around here, you've got really good cover, and you can shoot from here down into this area really easily. And so the column, the red deployment player kind of has to stick to these spaces here. Otherwise, if you come up here, you can get shot from across the map here from the terminal side, and if you're over here, you can very easily get shot from this middle doorway when it does open. So yeah, I think the blue deployment zone is actually better now. But I do take the bottom one, and I don't really have much of a plan, like a turn zero plan as far as positioning. I just know I want to put my Jawa on the terminal here, and that's about it. And I think I end up choosing to move some figures up here that ends up being a mistake. But you'll see how I dig out of it later. So Dylan's going to deploy his figures. Now I have 8 activations, and the reasons for that is because I want to be able to pressure with Headhunter, with HK-47. So I want to always have last activation where the opponent will not want to be able to move out any of their figures out where the HK-47 could see them with a double move, and that would put a lot of pressure on them to stay in cover. Whereas if the opponent had last activation, they could wait until I've been forced to activate HK-47 and then move one of their figures out of cover to do something that I don't want them to do. So that's why I like 8-acts with this list. Alright, we've got some very mobile figures on Dylan's team, specifically Boba Fett. I think Boba Fett's what I'm really worried the most about. Just having him come in and flamethrower and weaken everybody and deal a bunch of strain, and then flamethrower attack and like dig and dive out. End of round, start of round sort of thing. It's very concerning. So I activate Bib to focus Vinto, and then activate Jabba to draw a card. Let's see. Am I not able to see my own cards here? Oh, that's too bad. I can't actually see what's in my hand. Oh, I think because, let's see, if I change to player 1. Oh, yes. Nice. So if I change players, I can see. So I've got urgency, negation, strength in numbers, and then definition, love. It looks like I played planning here, so I drew definition, love off of... Oh, no, I must have... I think I drew planning off of Jabba and then played planning to draw definition, love, and tools for the job. So strength in numbers really important here. Negation is going to matter later, and then urgency as well. So moving the Jawa. So I had Bib play planning, and then the Jawa moves up to take control of the terminal. So now Dylan finally has to activate. He's not able to pass any further since I'm down to 5 activations, 5 ready deployment cards. So he's going to have 3PO focus up Mando and then move down. I activate hired guns and move them up to the fountain and the door. The idea here is to have them kind of be my line of sight blockers, which in hindsight was just maybe not the greatest plan, because I think what I should have done is I should have moved them up to Dylan's door. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's what I should have done. I should have moved them right up to Dylan's doorway and then focused one of them with black market, and then Dylan would have to shoot that thing, get hit by parting shot, and then that would have been much better. Anyway, so first lesson learned. Now I know to do that, especially on Uskru doors. I think that's a good way to play hired guns. is just put him up against your opponent's Uskru door, double move, speed 10, um, and then have something ready to go for the initiative for this round 2. It's almost like you're giving yourself. It's almost like a take initiative, right? Like if they're getting initiative round 2, but then they have to shoot this hired gun that's going to be focused and kill them, or hit them with parting shot. Like it's almost like you stole the initiative from them, and then you get to activate one of your other figures. So Dr. Aff are going to move up to the column, and Dylan going to be bunching up his figures here by the terminal. Like I mentioned, that's a great spot when you have the blue deployment zone. I move Onar here, and I use Rush to move the hired gun up 1 space and focus it with the damage. Not a huge fan of doing this again, I think. I think the 1 damage on Onar is unnecessary. I think it's better to just put the hired guns in a very conspicuous location where they're being annoying, but maybe not have to focus them, so that because they're going to get focused when they die for their parting shot. So I'm not sure.
He's no good to me dead.
All right, so Boba Fett is activating for Dylan as his last activation, and he's going to use the wrist cord ability to move 3PO the rest of the spaces up to give distracting to all of his team. So very strong positioning there, with 3PO giving a defensive buff from distracting, +1 evade, and then the innate defenses of Boba and Mando. And you can see he's got Shyla on his flank, defending Sabine, which is probably his squishiest figure. So now HK-47 is up. I move him here because I have Definition Love and Urgency, and I want to protect him because the more times I can trigger Mockery plus Headhunter, the more cards I can take out of Dylan's hand. I feel like the better I'll do in this game, because he's probably got some very powerful command cards. I'm sure he's got Rebel Graffiti, and Boba's card is really powerful that gives him a free attack. All the Hunter cards. I'm sure there's a lot of ridiculous stuff in his command deck. Oh, I should point out here that Dylan activated his Boba in such a way that he activated the child second. So Boba has Clan of 2 attached that gives him the child companion. And the child companion teleports onto the figure that controls it after that figure activates. But then after that, it's free to move and stay wherever you put it when it activates. And it does count for control because there's no text on the Clan of 2 or the child that says it doesn't. So he's using the child as his terminal sitter, so he doesn't have to put any of his other more valuable figures in danger to control the terminal. So I thought that was really a great use of that card. In a low activation list, getting a 1-point figure that can control objectives is really good. Alright, so that's going to be the end of round 1. So drawing, and I draw Heightened Reflexes and To the Limit. So Dylan's going to have initiative this round. So we move the couriers up, and then we open the doors. And let's see, it's reverse order initiative. So Dylan opens the door next to his terminal first, and then I open the door in the middle so I can move my other figures out past the column. Now, I trigger Black Market here, and I deal a strain to the hired gun to focus it. So that's a nice little combo with the hired guns who now get a focus whenever they take damage. And that's unfortunate. I can't do that at the same time. But there you can see the hired gun as it's been altered in Season 7. And that combos really well with the existing Black Market card, which you have to deal a strain to a Smuggler. So 1 damage to the hired gun, it's focused. So with Black Market, I flip over Take Initiative, and of course I buy it. And then Dylan is going to negate it, although he thought I was playing it there, but I was just putting it in my hand. So he kind of jumped the gun and revealed more information than he was intending. But of course, I just want to. I think I'm just fine triggering his negation because I don't really have a strong initiative play here, just because of how my positioning is set up. So he goes ahead and I play it and he negates it. But this is really important because now I know he doesn't have negation. Um, Interestingly, I also could have excavated his negation with Afro, but I already did excavated planning. But I know he doesn't have negation, so that's going to be really important based on what I have in my hand. So he gets to have initiative here. He activates Sabine, and he's going to come take a shot at my hired gun. And unfortunately, he gets exactly the 5 accuracy he needs, and he gets enough to get the kill here. And I go ahead and use parting shot to shoot at the child, since I don't have line of sight to Sabine, because like I said, that side of the map has really great positioning options. So I go ahead and shoot at the child. The hired gun has +2 accuracy, and it was rolling a green, green, yellow. So it just needs 1 above its minimum accuracy to hit the child. And so now the way that it works is Dylan has to decide if he wants to use force exhaustion so that the child doesn't die but it becomes incapacitated, and basically will no longer count for control or be able to use force heal, but at least he'll be able to pick it up later for 1 VP. And he decides to use force exhaustion here. Now, I actually think he probably would have been better off letting it die, just because there's the off chance that it rolls a dodge with that white die, and then he gets to keep it for his Boba Fett, so he can use it when Boba Fett gets attacked and to heal Boba Fett. And if it does die, I don't know if that 1 VP is really that important, but he is going to go ahead and incapacitate it. So that's going to prevent the attack from doing anything to the child, and then the hired gun's defeated. And he moves back. Now I'm in a really tough spot here, and I'm going to go ahead and reveal my hand. Yeah, I'm in a tough spot. He's dug in really deep back there, and my figures can't really do much to get line of sight without committing themselves really hard and getting counterattacked by everything on Dylan's list. But I have to do something with Onar because he's just sitting there now in the open. So I really kind of messed up my opening here. Not really happy with how I did that. However, I have a ton of command cards thanks to Jabba and Black Market. I also have a choice of planning. I have planning that I can play off of Excavate. I'm looking at my options here and I'm thinking, well, I could urgency with somebody. I could get HK, like I could urgency with HK and like get line of sight to Boba from this space here. But then I wouldn't, he'd be 4 spaces away, so I wouldn't be able to use Definition Love, and I'd be sacrificing him, but at least I could take a card out of Dylan's hand. But that's not great. And I'm thinking maybe I should just activate Onar and pull him back, like back behind the column, and maybe that'll work. But then I'm just inviting Boba to come down and deep strike me if I play passively, and so that's not great either. Then I have this realization that I have strength in numbers in my hand, because the problem is I'm thinking, well, I could also urgency Onar up there, but he's not focused. I didn't focus him for some reason, because I wasn't expecting to use him this early. So I really want to be able to focus Onar before I do anything with him. And then I realize I have strength in numbers in my hand. And I realize, wait a second, I could activate Jabba and then strengthen numbers into Onar. And then I realize I have to the limit. And what I can do is, since I know that Dylan no longer has negation available to him, I can have Onar, without having to use urgency, I can have him move, do a regular move, then use the rush special action to get 4 more spaces up to Dylan's figures, and I can actually pull Boba off of 3PO and take away that distracting bonus, which is going to let me do a lot more damage. Plus I have tools and heightened, so if I'm focused, I'm going to be doing a lot. And I realize, you know what? I think this is my best chance. Because I have to decide too, like, who am I supposed to go after here? Do I go after Boba, who's really hard to kill and can escape really quickly, even if you've managed to do a bunch of damage to him? Or do I go for the other figures instead? And I realize that this is actually my best chance to go after Boba. And if I can defeat Boba, I actually have a much better chance of winning because the rest of my figures are not great at dealing a bunch of damage through high defense. Onar is really the only one that can do it effectively. So I realized that I need to. I thought for a long time for about this move, and I realized this is it. I got to go for it. I have to. I have to take the initiative here and take the front foot because if I step back, Dylan's gonna outplay me with his fast and mobile figures, and he's just gonna pick my guys off. And actually, in the game of Go, we actually call this taking Sente, where if you're in a bad position, you can make a very highly aggressive play that demands a response from the opponent, and then use the momentum you gain off of subsequent moves to push your advantage more and try to create trades rather than just falling behind. So that's what I end up doing. So I realized I was going to active. See, here you see I was going to move him back. That was my initial plan, but then I realized I have strength in numbers. Now there was a debate here. Do I play planning with Jabba or do I just draw off a scheme? I would love to see two more command cards here, just so I can possibly do more damage. But I decided in the end that I really want to have the extra cards from planning by using Bib to draw with that. I don't want to waste Boba or Jabba's scheme special action because I would be giving up the free card from scheme. So I activate Jabba. I focus Onar. Or I draw first. That's right. Draw first, and it's Assassinate. So that's great. Now, of course, I can't use Assassinate if I plan to use Tools and Heightened, which I definitely am going to. But that means that if I can deal enough damage to Boba, I can potentially finish him off with any of my hunters by playing Urgency, which again, I know my Urgency is going to resolve because Dylan has negation in the discard pile. So activate Jabba, play Strength in Numbers. Since Onar is 6 and Jabba is 6, I can activate Onar. So I move 3 spaces, and then I do Rush to move. Actually, I think I moved 2. Yeah, I move 2 spaces. I use Rush to move 4, so I have 2 movement points left with Onar. Rush to pull Boba off of 3PO and deal a damage to him. So now Onar's at 2 because he used Rush in the beginning. And now playing to the limit to get another action, which will be an attack. And of course, Onar has immunity, so he doesn't become stunned either. So this is a fantastic card. If you play Onar and Jabba in the same list, you should really run this card because Jabba can make great use of it as well. He can, especially when you want to do a focus into an order hit, it's really great for doing that. Jabba doesn't care about being stunned because all of his abilities are neither movement nor attacks. So he can use all of his special actions even while he's stunned. Okay, so Onar, big attack on Boba. No defense tokens. Gonna use tools. So this is a focused tools for the job. And I think I roll the best Onar roll I've ever rolled in my life. Usually, I was expecting this to be terrible because I usually roll terrible with Onar. But I rolled pretty good. And pulling him off of 3PO is a big impact too. That actually allowed an extra +2 damage to get through thanks to Onar's Surge. And I decide to play Heightened here just in case I need to attack with a Smuggler next. Like, I was like, well, I don't usually like playing Heightened with it's not going to result in a kill, but I have figures in my list that are not hunters, so it's like on the off chance that that damage was relevant and I need to attack with a Smuggler later, I decide to just play Heightened here. Also, I have Assassinate, and that's something important to remember. You can't play Assassinate and Heightened on the same attack. So that was the other reason I wanted to use Heightened here, was because I knew that if I wanted to use Assassinate the next time I attacked Boba, I wouldn't be able to use Heightened. I'm trying to remember if I don't think I discard for Bib because I think I want to keep all these cards. So that's going to do, I think that ends up doing 9 damage to him. Oh no, 10 damage, that's right. So very good for very good attack on Boba there. Also super helpful that the child was incapacitated. The weakened wouldn't have hurt, but I think losing the extra die would have. Because I probably would have given up. I guess I would have given up the blue die, so maybe not that much. But let's see. And the nice thing is I have negation in my hand, so I know I'm going to have initiative next round. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm trading Onar, and I'm... Okay, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. Now we have to see what Boba does. So I was worried that he was going to just retreat and like run him off to the left side of the map. Because and then what I do here is I move Onar with my 2 remaining movement points back behind the wall, so that any of Dylan's figures, if they want to attack Onar, they have to spend a couple of movement points to do so. Although I guess Shyla could... I thought about contesting his terminal, but there was no way Onar was going to survive to the end of the round. So I just decided, let's make Dylan spend the movement points if he wants to kill Onar, so he can't like reposition really far. Okay, so now we're thinking, what does Boba do here? I was worried that he was just going to run away. Again, he's so fast, he could just retreat, hang out by the booth, and be completely untouchable. Or even like go stand behind 3PO and Shyla, and just be gone, and that would probably hurt me a lot. But I think Dylan got aggressive here, so he activates Boba and he's gonna go for the attack. And I believe he actually spends the movement points for the EE3 carbine ability, so he can roll green, green, red. Yep, and rolls really good. I do use Get Down to add an evade since he's got 1 surge for +2. And that's going to be 6 damage though. This takes Onar down to 7. So he initially moves here, and I thought that was going to be the really good move. That would make things hard, especially if he then moved Mando over to block line of sight from the door, from the middle door for next round. But he ends up moving here instead, and I'm not sure about this one. I think the reason was, I think he told me actually. He said it was because he was worried about Mando or Boba getting exposed next round to that middle door. And I don't know, maybe it would have been better for me to wait, but I was really worried that my window of opportunity was going to close if I didn't go for it here. So Boba is now in a spot where I can actually see him from the right side of Onar. So let's see. So here I decide I'm going to go with Vinto. Vinto can actually get right up to that space if I play Urgency here. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So that's what I decided to do. I'm like, okay, I got to take out Boba while I've got the opportunity. If I wait to do something like play planning with Bib, then Dylan's going to cover up that hole that he left for me to shoot at Boba. So I go for it. I think I briefly thought about using Urgency with HK-47 to get up there and take the shot at Boba, so I could also strip a card out of his hand, like maybe take a parry or something, or I don't know. I guess parry wouldn't be it, but whatever, like some defensive card that he's got that might stymie me. But ultimately, I decide no, I don't want to lose HK. This is where Vinto can. I would be much happier trading Vinto plus Onar for Boba, right? That's 6 for Onar, 5 for Vinto. So I go ahead and play Urgency here. And I decide to shoot at 3PO because I'm hoping I can kill him with the focus. So with the Assassinate, it feels like a waste to use my focused attack on Boba, because an unfocused Vinto attack cannot really kill 3PO. It's going to be very difficult to do that. And I'll bring up Vinto here. Unaltered, we have not gotten around to fixing Vinto, and I think he's been doing pretty good this season, so we probably won't. And I've enjoyed playing him. Anyway, so yeah, it feels like a waste, right, to shoot at Boba with focus when I have Assassinate in my hand, when I could potentially kill 3PO with the focus and then use Assassinate to take out Boba, since I also get Bolt Slinger. So that's what I end up doing. Oops. So I attack 3PO. The other bonus is if I can kill 3PO here, I can get rid of the distracting bonus from Boba. He doesn't roll the dodge. I have the kill here, but he's going to re-roll. And unfortunately, he gets the block he needs. to stop me from getting the kill. I do have Bib, but I realize, of course, I'm one away. I can just Bolt Slinger him, right? So 3 damage to 3PO. And now I go for the attack on Boba. And this would have been completely blanked, right? So this stops all of my attack. Boba has 2 health left. So this is where Assassinate comes down. Finishes the Boba, and then Bolt Slinger on 3PO. So trading Onar and Vinto for Boba and 3PO, I felt like was a pretty good trade. Because this is definitely as a trade. And also, not only am I trading that, it is also taking up the other activations from Dylan's team. He's going to have to activate Shyla and Mando if he wants to kill off both Onar and Vinto. While the rest of my team can now take their time, move into position, play planning, focus up more figures. So this felt like a really good momentum play for me to kind of dig me out of my bad positioning from round 1. So Shyla going to come up, going to whip Onar. You can see Shyla, also from Jabba's realm. Unchanged in IACP, she was only recosted down from 8 to 7. Going to attack with tools. And I think that's enough to kill off Onar. Yep. And she does cleave to Vinto as well. And so now I can play Bib. I can play my planning again. Just so much card draw with this list with Afra and Jabba and Black Market. And focusing Afra. Now I actually messed up there. I thought Bib's focus range was 4. It's actually 2 spaces. So I should not have been able to do that. What I should have had to do was move Afra closer to Bib and then have Bib activate. But I think either way it would have been roughly the same outcome. So let's see. I think he passed because he did lose an activation from 3PO. Jabba already activated, so now Afra is moving. So I did move her up there, so I guess, yeah, it did kind of matter. Unfortunately, I wish I hadn't missed that, but Dylan catches it on the next one, thankfully. I told him I must have gotten Bib confused with Yoda, who can focus 4 spaces away, but now I will definitely keep that in mind. Okay, so we've got Mando activating. I'm going to attack Vinto here with the Disruptor Rifle. Doesn't bother to use the Flamethrower. And he is doing 5 damage there. So with the Disruptor Rifle, that is enough for a kill. Oh, yeah, and I forgot, he's focused. So, yeah, that's a dead Vinto. So there we go, trade complete. Now it's 17 to 14 in my favor, thanks to Jabba getting me 2 extra victory points. And here I realize I can actually, and I forgot I had done this, I put that hired gun there so he can move 5 and be able to attack this round, and that's exactly what I do. Move the hired gun up. Shots on Mando, who spends a block token. And I roll pretty terribly here, so 0 damage, unfortunately, with that attack. And it looks like I double move. No, what am I doing with HK? Oh, that's right. Okay, so I set it up here where I know I'm going to have initiative, and I have negation, so I know my initiative is safe. So here's what I do with HK. Double move him out here where I'm going to be able to attack Sabine, then attack her again with Definition Love because I'm 5 spaces away. I will not have to worry about any dodges thanks to HK-47's innate ability from her. And I'll get to take a card out of his hand. So I'm hoping I kill him. And I'll also have strength in numbers from Dr. Afra as well. So that is the end of round 1. And that's why it's really important to always be thinking who's having initiative in the next round so you can set up in the previous round your plays. Because if I wasn't going to get initiative here, this would be terrible. I'd just be putting HK-47 in danger and he would get to counter me. So all the doors open after we do the couriers. I think Dylan forgot to deploy his courier, but I reminded him in the middle of round two. Okay, so we've got start of round. Primary target. So I reveal primary target with black market. I deal damage to the smuggler, to the hired gun. It's actually the last card on my deck. And since I know I'm going to be going for Sabine here, I'm not going to be able to use it. So I don't want to spend it because we're still close in VPs. I don't want to sell it though because it'll be useful when I need to take down. Once I take down Sabine, I can use primary target on either Shyla or Mando. So I don't want to sell it, so I just put it back on top of my deck with black market. So initiative comes back to me. I excavate the strengthened numbers with Dr. Afra. And now I go ahead and activate HK-47. So first thing to do, we were going to ping Sabine with Mockery. So Dylan's shuffling up the cards in his hand so I can pick one randomly. And I take out Worth Every Credit, so that's a good one to get rid of. And again, this is with the Headhunter attachment, so my HK-47 effectively costs 8 to be able to do this, but it's pretty useful. Here I use Definition Love first because I want to have the focus on the 2 dice attack. Definition Love gives him an extra attack, but you have to remove one of the red dice, so he's down to just blue, which is pretty unimpressive unless you're focused. So you really want to be focused when you play this card, and then have your follow-up, your second attack be your base attack that is also 3 dice. So attacking here, also good for range too. Blue can kind of let you down on the range. And a good roll, no dodge for Sabine. Good roll for me, so 6 damage. And the extra protection was from... Oh, I discarded that to Bib Fortuna for +1. I don't remember exactly what was in my hand at this point. I had... Oh, Celebration Element on the Lamb. So yeah, I discarded that there. I'm in the habit of using Bib. If I'm doing 2 attacks, sometimes I'll use Bib on the first attack, just in case I need to use his ability twice. That way I can do it. But I think I ended up not needing it there. So I do 7. She's got 4 health left. And now I do my regular attack. And there she dodges, but of course, conclusion is no dodges for you. So that takes out Sabine, and now I've placed him just so I can move right behind that wall. Celebration comes down. I'm getting 11, 12 VPs for that, thanks to Jabba, and he moves behind that wall. And I decide to go ahead and just strengthen numbers here since it's free, since it's excavated. Like if I don't play the card now, I won't get as much value as I would if I did. So I go ahead and just activate this hired gun. I want to do it before Dylan gets to attack the hired gun. That way I get 2 focused attacks instead of just the parting shot. Oh, here we go. I said, hey, where's your courier droid? You should have 2. I want to keep it fair. And so we go ahead and attack much better this time. So I think I ended up doing 4 damage there. And then I actually do get to move him back into cover. So that was really good too. So a very nice triple attack here with both figures being able to move back into cover. Of course, he's not really in cover because Dylan could just shoot at him through the middle, but he's going to have to move a little further to do that. And he might have to keep his figures exposed to like a follow-up attack from Afra. So fleet-footed being played by Mando here. I actually decided to negate this since he didn't play Take Initiative. I don't know if that was smart. I probably should have kept that for Bib Fortuna. I am very biased, though, in that if I'm not holding a negation for Take Initiative anymore, if my opponent plays a movement card that's 0 points, I will very often negate it just on principle. Just because I know that they're probably playing it for a very specific need. So anyway, he decides to go here. He tries to flamethrower the courier, but again, Flamethrower says it deals damage to each figure adjacent to the chosen space, and couriers are not figures, so unfortunately that does not work out. I think he does attack. No, he goes for the hired gun here, which makes sense. And he does get the range, I believe. Oh no, he does not. 1, 2. So he's 1 short on range, but he has heightened, so he's going to use the heightened here to take out the evade and get the surge he needs to get the accuracy he needs to make range and get the kill. I do get to use I do get to use my attack here, and I decided to element off of parting shot. I am one accuracy away from my minimum accuracy here, but I figured I should probably be able to hit him. So I go ahead and take away his dice, hoping I'm going to try and finish Mando off, and unfortunately I low roll on my accuracy. So that was a wasted element of surprise. So now I get to activate Bib, and here's where we figure out. So I try to double focus. I try to spend a VP to focus the Jawa and HK because I want to have them focused so I can attack the courier droid with Jabba. And that's when Dylan notices that, hey, he should only be able to do that from 2 spaces. So I actually can't reach the Jawa scavenger here. I can only get close enough to do, with movement 3, I can only get close enough to focus the HK. So yeah, I mean, it is sometimes hard to remember the different numbers, but you learn as you play. I swear he was 4 spaces at one point in design too. So I think, oh no, so now he's trying to whip the courier with Shyla, and again, Shyla's whip specifically says it can only target a figure. So instead, he comes down and he goes for the attack on my Afra. And now I decide it's time to use that on the lamb that I did not use when he attacked my hired gun, because I really want to keep Afra around. I need her help to kill these courier droids, so I can kind of put the nail in the coffin on this game. If I can kill this courier droid and keep mine alive, it's going to be really bad for Dylan. So my regular Jawa scavenger activates, does an unfocused attack on the courier. So they have 6 health and they roll 1 black die. So I surge for +2 damage here, and then I surge for harass to deal a strain, and because it's not a figure, it can't choose to mill cards or anything, it just has to take the strain as damage. So really nice, that ability on the regular Jawa. So I end up doing 3 damage to it. And then I go ahead and activate Afra, and I take a focus shot on the courier, which I think does just enough, because that's 4 Pierce 1, -1 block. So focus attack, just barely able to do 3 damage to kill the courier droid. And that's going to make things tough for Dylan here, since my courier droid is going to score here. And I think that is it. So, yep, I go up to 35, and then we move the couriers around. He's going to get initiative here, and I think we call it. So thank you again for Dylan, for letting me use this. I thought that was a really good game. I thought he played really well, much better in the opening than I did. I think I got lucky with the command cards that I drew. That is kind of how I play, though, when I don't have a lot of practice. The game kind of just becomes a puzzle to me, and it's like, okay, what do I do now? I'm just kind of riding by the seat of my pants. But I really appreciate Dylan playing with me, playing that league game. And I wish him best of luck in his future games. And alright, thanks guys for watching. I'm going to have to go.